What is up, Maniacs? Pyro here, and today I'm going to be going over the live stream that happened earlier today. Now, I've taken this live stream and I've broken it down and taken out all the fluff and all the bullshit and just left in the stuff that you guys want to know about each map. The audio for the zombies map, whenever Jason Blundell is kind of talking about it, got cut out. So I'm going to be filling in, and I'm also going to be going over what him and Noah talked about later in the video. But now I'm going to start out with an interview with the game designer and a producer from Black Ops 3 talking about each individual map. However, first let me talk to you guys about a rumor and a confirmed date. Now, the confirmed date for this DLC for PS4 is April 19th. So for Xbox One and PC, you can kind of assume around June 19th, June 18th, June 20th, you know, around there for DLC 2 Eclipse. Now, the rumor is we might be getting a new specialist. The specialist's name is Blackjack, and it's actually the guy from the black market. Some guy, not a credible source, but it's just a rumor I heard. Some guy said that he had heard the audio files for this character. Now, essentially what this guy does is he copies the weapons and the abilities of other specialists. And it's kind of funny, a few months ago, probably about a month after the game came out, Donkey Kong, Sip Syrup, and myself, we were all discussing that they should have a new specialist that does exactly that, although they should call him Copycat or her Copycat, because that would just be, it would be a very fitting specialist and it'd be a lot of fun to play with. Well, the rumor is that we will be getting just that. Now, again, no credible source, no confirmed, no anything, just a rumor, not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the video here. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will talk to you after you see them talk about these amazing new 4 maps.
Well, whenever you talk about creating those interesting experiences and how core movement factors into it, I think it probably is best for us to start out with the map called Verge, all right? And as I'm sure you'll explain, this is a reimagining. Where does it come from, and what are we offering this time around?
So Verge is pretty awesome. It's like you said, a reimagining of Bonsai, which is a map from World at War.
Yep.
And we were really excited to bring this back, and fans have been asking for this because it offers some of those challenges just built into the map. It has really high verticality from Bonsai with this bridge, this cave system. There's a lot of ways to flank around. But Verge, how we've reimagined it and transformed it, is a desolate wasteland set in a post-apocalyptic future. So these two warring nations are fighting over the last good water source. And now what that really means is they wake up at 9 a.m. and they clock in, grab your weapon, go to the bridge, fight the other side at 5 p.m., okay, clock out and go back to sleep, rinse and repeat. But it's got a very cool look. It's very, very different than other maps that we've ever done before visually.
Well, whenever you talk about reimagining maps, you know, Nuketown or Skyjacked, talk to me a little bit about core movement. How does core movement factor into Verge? How did you take something that was, I mean, when you think about World at War.
And then at the same time, you know, if you jump off the bridge in Bonsai and World at War, probably going to die. Now we've got the thrust jump, we've got the water, so you're going to be able to bail out of the bridge on both sides, dive into the water, you can kind of flank around.
Well, let's move on to Spire, all right? So this takes place in a suborbital airport terminal.
Yeah.
Suborbital.
Yes.
Just
bunch of fancy words.
It's just like a sexy word.
It is. It's very
So
nice.
tell us about this sexy map.
So this map is very sexy looking in that it's a very, very clean and futuristic take. Lots of curves, lots of very interesting shapes and architecture.
Sure.
But the premise is that in the future, of course, they could build these huge spires, and they've built these airports off of these spires to get into suborbital and get around the Earth, you know, in minutes, basically. So you're fighting on one of these terminals, basically, in this airport, and it's pretty awesome how it is. You know, you fight in a lot of clean areas, you're fighting through these terminals, and it feels like an airport, but it also feels very unique because there's a lot of core movement that we've done in it as well.
Well, in terms of that core movement and some of the engagements, what kind of engagements can we expect in Spire?
You know, we always try to cater to all gameplay styles in our maps. You know, we want everybody from the snipers to the guys running around with the baseball bat to be successful. With this one, it's, you know, it's interesting because you know, you've got one side of the map where you're going to have these opposing overwatches, which are just obviously going to be great for sniper battles. Then you've got the other side where we've got some nice meaty cover for you to work up to. So, you know, shotguns, SMGs, baseball bats, those are going to work on that side. And then as far as the core movement goes, we kind of looked back to Combine, which is a very popular Black Ops 3 map, kind of a staple at this point. And we looked at that and we said, okay, we did that outer wall run where you were able to flank around. How do we make that more interesting? And in Spire, we kind of took that element and developed it more and turned that Combine's wall run into a destination. So you'd be able to kind of bell out through the middle or down the catwalks on the exterior of the map and set up shop at the refueling station. It's, that side has some longer lines of sight, so you're going to be able to post up there with a sniper rifle.
Third map, Rift. I dig this one because you're combining a lot of very interesting concepts, future military complex over a volcano.
Yes, it's I don't want to say
hyper-realistic.
It's super realistic, yes. But it's got a good contrast to the pack, and we've never done a map, in Black Ops like this. It is very, very militaristic, industrial. There's girders everywhere. It's dirty. It's not a place you want to be, and it's sort of intimidating. You've got this volcano, this caldera that you're over, and the whole map is basically a suspended rail system where they are getting these minerals out, and they are supplying the war effort by just actively pulling things out of the volcano and transporting them all around the world. But because of that locale, it's offered some interesting things that we can do with some of the core movement and overall map design.
Yep, I can speak to that. I assume that's what the hand. Yes. So this one is, we're really forcing the engagements on Rift. If you run forward, you will meet an enemy. It's not like some of the other maps where you're going to have kind of these exterior routes where you can just completely lose your enemy. In this one, we've got what I've been referring to as kind of soft flanks,
sure.
To where you're going to run into that enemy. But we give you these opportunities to be clever and take the middle, for example. The middle is going to be a very head-on battle. But at the same time, we're trying something new with a wall run in the middle that's going to allow you to kind of be clever.
And we really accomplished that, where each of the lanes, you're going to hit an enemy, and you have two options. You either kill him or figure out a clever way to use core movement to get around him.
All right, last map, Knockout. This one, love this one. Miles, tell us a little bit about the setting.
So Knockout is a really fun map. On top of the gameplay stuff that's just really unique is it looks like a traditional map, Asian-style Shaolin temple from actually a privately owned island. So a super rich dude, right, like yourself, John.
Well, this sounds like my bachelor pad. I mean, I almost feel like you guys have peered into my life.
We did. All of our reference images were from your private island.
Okay.
But it's basically this guy that has built this really authentic Shaolin temple because he's really into martial arts, and he hires people to come and fight for him on his tournament. But he also loves the 70s, and he loves old school kung fu.
Again, the parallels are amazing here.
So the interiors, there's one where it's a disco. The guy has his own personal disco with the floors light up, and he's got a disco ball. So you're outside, and you're looking at this very traditional Asian urn, this dragon that's very intimidating, but then you can bust a move by going into the disco for a few minutes, slaying a few people, and then cut out to the rooftops where you can use some of the core movement.
No, so this one is interesting because kind of one of the core concepts of the map is King of the Hill. So a lot of times we'll have these, say on Spire, for example, we have these two opposing Overwatches. And in Knockout, we've got this central trophy room where you would keep your trophies.
Yeah.
And that's the position you want to fight over. If you're able to secure that position, you're really going to have a lay of the land. You're going to be able to lock it down. You're going to have these exterior rear wall runs on the back side of this trophy room. And then we've got a nice balcony that kind of overwatches the center. I think back to a Black Ops 2 map, which is Slums. It's got kind of a Slums vibe with that big center courtyard. I love that. So with that courtyard, you kind of think back to the Blue Room of Slums. And Knockout, you're gonna be able to have that kind of raised platform in the trophy room and kind of see where everybody's going.
All right, so that is multiplayer. Before we move on, a few quick announcements. Not sure if you guys noticed, but yesterday we announced that this weekend we have a double weekend. Double XP, double weapon XP goes live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific and runs through Monday morning 10 a.m. What are we giving to fans in DLC 2?
So DLC 2, we're going to the Island of Despair.
So Jason goes on to describe the map as very creepy, very scary, you know, a very dark, gringy kind of map. He goes on to say that he's very excited for it. Now, the synopsis of the map, or the details of it, is our heroes find themselves stranded on a remote Pacific island which is home to the Division 9 facility, a secret biological research lab whose experiments with Element 115 and its effects on human, animal, and plant biology has created horrors beyond belief. Division 9, as we learn from Tokyo's scouter notes around Der Eisendrache, is a Japanese-based, or maybe not Japanese-based, I'm not sure, I don't quite remember if it's Japanese or German-based, but it is some kind of Axis power-based facility that works with Element 115 and is obviously doing horrible things with it. Zetubao no Shima features a foliage-rich island map, including new terrifying zombie enemies, a variety of innovative transport mechanics, and more devastating traps and classic zombie side quests. So what we gather from that is that there's going to be more traps and innovative transport. So, you know, I'm thinking maybe teleporters, although we've seen teleporters before, so maybe 1 or 2 teleporters, but I'm thinking something else, something that we haven't seen before, maybe a boat, or maybe a car of some sort, I'm not really sure, like a jeep going through the jungle. Now, there have also been rumors and you know, slightly confirmed rumors that the new wonder weapon will be the skull of, I think it's like Nazgaroth or something of that nature. It's the thunder god that the people of the island Pompeii used to praise, and there have been some glitches and some leaks that will be the new wonder weapon. Some kind of gun with the skull on it, maybe, we're not really sure, but that will be the new wonder weapon. Jason didn't say anything about it, but that's just kind of a leak here for you. Now, he just goes on to say that he's very excited about the map when he's interviewing with the bald dude, I don't know his name, but whenever he goes on to interview with Noah hits him with some hard questions that he refuses to answer, some of them, you know, because you know how Noah is. He will prod and just try to get as much information out as possible. Now, as of right now, I don't believe Noah's released the video of him doing that yet, so I'm kind of beating him to the punch, you know, yay me, but, you know, he will have a video out on it. I just want to get you the information as soon as I can. So he asked Jason if he's impartial to spiders or if he has like a special place in his heart for spiders, and Jason goes on to say that he absolutely loves spiders, so we can kind of expect to see some big spiders or some zombie spiders or, you know, some experimental spiders with the Element 115 on this map, maybe replacing the dogs that we've seen, you know, in previous maps. So I think that'll be a new fun kind of game mechanic and new terrifying zombie as it describes in the synopsis. His next question is in regards to Easter eggs all around. Before the game came out, Jason described an Easter egg that they had implemented somewhere in some map. I think it's Shadows of Evil, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And Jason goes on to say that it is impossible. Nobody will ever find it, you know. The zombies community can try as hard as they can, but, you know, it'll be a hidden Easter egg forever. He asks about that Easter egg and if anybody's found it yet, and Jason straight up says no, nobody's found it. It's just as it was on day one, you know. So that's kind of exciting. He also goes on to say that there are multiple Easter eggs across many maps that nobody's ever found. So as the zombies community, that gives us a little hope that we can go back and replay maps and try and find new stuff, because there is stuff out there that nobody's ever found, and I know everybody wants to be first to be able to find everything, so that gives a lot of us, you know, a lot of hope. Finally, the question we've all been waiting for, Jason finally gives a definitive yet cryptic answer to it. Noah asks him, is the Apothecant Servant upgradable? And of course, Jason being Jason says, no, the Apothecant Servant is not upgradable in Shadows of Evil. What the fuck, you know, like, what the fuck? It's not upgradable in Shadows of Evil. Where else do we have it? So I'm thinking maybe a future map, maybe I don't know. It's my thought process that the giant was way too small. It was way too small of an Easter egg. They made it out to be such a big deal with the trailer, and you know, it's the first time we see Richtofen kill himself, and then you know what happens in the end of Der Eisendrache, and we can only assume the same thing will probably happen in the end of Zetsubo no Shima. Der Eisendrache was a huge Easter egg. Zetsubo no Shima is going to be a huge Easter egg, and the giant was just kind of So I'm thinking they might be adding updates to that map throughout the DLCs, throughout the patches. Hopefully by the fourth DLC, they'll be like, okay, go check out the giant again, and there'll be something changed. You know, maybe you have to do all the Easter eggs, and then you go into the giant, and there's a new room open, something like that. I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do, you know, because they love to just kind of cross maps and be everywhere with this. Noah goes on to ask him if there's gonna be a big boss in the end of Zetsubo no Shima, and why why they switched to the boss kind of tactic when we've never really seen that before, barring Transit, which is kind of a boss, I guess, but not really. He says it really depends on the map. The hardness or the easiness of Easter eggs per map really depends on the map. If there's going to be a boss, if it fits, it really just has to go with the flow of the map. So he didn't give a definitive answer for this specific map, but he did say that, you know, depending on the map, that's how they situate everything. They don't come in and say, you know what, this map gets a boss. You know, it's situational. It depends on the map. It has to go with the flow. And hell, they've been through this with 4 games. You know, I trust them by now. So that's about it for today. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I've been spending all day working on these and finding the trailers and watching and getting as much information as I can. And I just absolutely love this shit. I love the zombies community, and I love my subscribers, my supporters, and I really appreciate everything you guys do for me. Comment, like, subscribe, tell your friends. I think I'm one of the first to get these videos out here, so, you know, share it, get everybody to support. You know, I'll get as much information as I can to you as soon as I can. So thanks, guys. Peace.